All right, everybody, welcome back to Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Gavin Butts.
I'm Patrick Wall.
And in this episode, do you want me to announce the episode, or do you want to...
Let me talk about my thing real quick.
Talk about your thing.
Patrick has his thing.
I do have my thing. So on the last episode, I talked about a movie called The Guyver, which was impossible to find. I found it because of a friend. He actually knew a website. Let's say that's less than legal.
Not promoted by Movie Talks.
No. We do not support this website, but I did use it. It is filled with pop-up ads, so you will need a pop-up blocker working every moment that you're on this website.
Every second.
Yeah, pretty much. Once you get the movie going, you're good. But until then, it is a fight.
This time.
Yeah. But I was able, it took me 2 hours to watch this hour-and-a-half long movie. I think I remember with nostalgia covered glasses, because I remember when I watched it the other day, I was like, this is some Power Rangers level nonsense. The monsters weren't as... So I guess watching it at the age of 7 was a little bit more scarier than watching it at the age of 39.
Well, yeah.
Like even the gross body horror that happened to Mark Hamill at the end of the movie, I was like, that was it? That was all I was freaked out about?
It was scarier seeing his hand get cut off in Empire.
I do recommend that everyone watch this movie at least once because it is just a fun monster action flick. But so based on, don't watch it with the details I gave you the last episode, because nowadays if you're over the age of 15, hell, even if you are 7 in this day and age, it's not scary.
Yeah, no.
So I recommend watching
7-year-olds
it.
are doing worse shit.
Right? I will be watching Guyver 2: The Dark Hero, which is a sequel, which I can find prolifically everywhere.
Yep.
So I will be watching that one of these days, just to, watch both movies.
Well, yeah, because there's no Mark Hamill in it.
Well, you can find actually on, I think it's Target had a copy of it. You can order online for like $11.99.
Nice. It's a lot cheaper than the $40 for the original movie on Amazon.
They did have that too. They had, and I think Walmart has like multiple ones. There's one like with an extended cut and all this other good stuff. It's like $30, but there is a DVD version that's like $11.99 or something like that.
Nice.
So go Guyver.
Yeah. So I just wanted to follow up from my rant from last week. I've watched the movie. I was a little disappointed, but I was still glad I watched it. Okay, now please continue with the episode.
And now on to the show.
And now, we bring you back to our regularly scheduled program.
I told you that story. So I can tell you this story. All right, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about, it's an actor we've talked, he's been in a lot of movies that we've already discussed. However, we have not really focused on him directly. I love this guy. I love the way he acts. We did describe him. He was kind of in that one episode when we talked about certain actors are like, no matter what part they play, they're the same actor.
Yeah.
Like Nicolas Cage, Keanu Reeves, all them guys. So this guy is John Cusack.
Yep.
Now, John Cusack I think he's amazing. I think he's done a lot of great stuff. But he is still John Cusack in every movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change. Like, there's not, I don't want to say not a range, but I don't know. He's not a guy that's a character actor.
Yeah,
so to speak,
yeah.
You're not going to put him in, like, the next Lord of the Rings and, have him. He's just going to come out as that monotone kind of brooding guy. I'm a little pissed off at the world. No real reason to be, but, I feel like I'm just different. So anyway, on to John Cusack. So, as we always do, start off, favorites. Do you want me to kick this off, or would you guys like to take this one?
Let's kick this off, because I think you and I are going to share the favorite.
Okay.
So I want you to go first.
Well, mine is, as we've talked about not that long ago, Grosse Pointe Blank.
Okay.
That is one of
so
my favorite
I was right.
ones.
That your number 1 is my number 2.
All right.
Technically number 3, because I have a tie for first. And
Who does number 2 work for?
Now, for those who...
Holy shit, what did you eat?
For those people who maybe have not heard the episodes where we've talked about Grosse Pointe Blank,
I think the first time we talked about it is the episode where I did my homework back in the first year, because this was one of the movies.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So basically he's a contract killer that he decides he's kind of wanting to get out of it. He goes back to his high school. This is the quick gist of it. He goes back to his high school reunion that he's been trying to avoid. 10-year high school reunion, because when he was in high school, he kind of just left abruptly, even left his girlfriend, who was Minnie Driver in the movie. left her abruptly on prom night, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the prom.
He didn't show up.
Didn't show up, and he basically just left, joined the army.
Yeah.
And then, as he was in the army, his mental testing or moral mental capacity had showed that he had a certain flexibility.
Moral compass.
Yeah, a little moral flexibility. So he was lended out to the CIA Special Services, and then he got out of that. Now he's a contract killer. The reason why he goes,
his main rival is Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Which is the best part about that
And
movie.
did he write the movie, Dan Aykroyd, or he co-wrote it?
that I don't know.
Okay.
Well, let me look it up now.
We'll look it up as I finish up. You can look that up, and then I'll continue. So basically, the only reason he ends up going back to there is because he gets his job, which is he's thinking is gonna be his last job, and it ends up being at Grosse Pointe, Michigan, where he grew up. That's where his high school reunion's at, and he meets back up with his ex-girlfriend, Minnie Driver.
Yes, John Cusack did help write the screenplay.
Okay.
But no, did
Dan Aykroyd? No.
Yeah,
It
okay.
was John
So-
Cusack and 3 other people I've never heard of.
Gotcha.
And so but there's a lot of great things in it, and like I said, we've talked about it on an episode before. I think we delved pretty deep into the actual movie before, but you got Alan Arkin, who's the psychiatrist.
He's my favorite character.
He's very open to him about what he's done, and Alan Arkin is just very pushed back by it because he doesn't want to
Said,
help.
no, you came to saw me. You saw me for 3 weeks before you told me. Then I told you couldn't see me anymore. Now you show up every week at the same time.
He's like,
It's like, come on, it's not like I know where you live. I could just go down. Well, that doesn't make me feel good.
he's like, go to Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and don't kill anyone.
Yeah, don't kill anybody. See how it feels for a change.
Yeah. Should I go back? Yes. Have some punch. Try not to kill anybody for a while. See how you feel. Thank you. But yeah, so it's got a lot of great people in it. Dan Aykroyd's obviously his name is Grosser. Ironically, they just using the name Gross in this movie.
Yeah.
And his name is Martin Blank, so hence that's the name of the movie, Grosse Pointe Blank. So Grosse Pointe, Michigan, Martin Blank is his name. There you go. So watch the movie if you haven't seen it. I don't want to delve any further into really this because we have a lot more to talk about. And we've talked a lot about Grosse Pointe Blank. Watch the movie.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Yes. He actually did what people claim to be, it's not officially known as the sequel, but there is an
unofficial sequel
idea that the movie War Inc.
is a sequel
And that's also got Dan Aykroyd, and he's also in the killing field. He wears the same exact all black suit.
Oh, okay.
But he doesn't have the same name, and it's a little bit different. It's a really weird movie, the way it's set up.
So it's like how Zathura is the unofficial sequel to Jumanji.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing I will say, Grosse Pointe Blank, with the people in it, though, you also had Jeremy Piven, and you also had Hank Azaria in there, too.
Yep.
So I didn't want to forget bringing them into it, so.
I do like Jeremy Piven. He's a realtor driving a BMW.
Yep.
He's a real piece of
He
shit
was like
person.
he's his former best friend.
Yeah. That he hasn't talked to in 30 years or something
Yeah.
like that. He's like, yeah, I'm the one who brokered the deal for your mom's house. She got a nice commission on it.
I did like that scene, that when he's driving with him, and out of nowhere, he's like, 10 years, man, 10 years.
He just
10
freaks out.
years. He's like, I freaked out. I joined the army. I went in business for myself. I'm a contract killer. That's what I did. He's like, oh, you get dental with that? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he thinks he's fucking around, and then finally he sees him kill somebody.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He tells everybody straight out.
Yeah.
No one
doing with
No one
yourself?
believes him. Yeah.
What have you been doing with yourself? I'm a contract killer. Professional killer.
To be fair, it's a solid play. If I went and oh, what do you do for a living? Contract killer. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
Yeah. Right.
As there's a body in my trunk, I'm just having a beer until I can go dispose of it.
Yeah. All right, what's your favorite? Since that was your number 2, what's your number 1?
So my number 1, I've been since you told us about this topic, I've been debating between 2 movies, and I think I have to give the slight nod to Con Air.
Okay. Yes.
Because he was the federal marshal in that
Yep.
movie, chasing the plane that Cyrus the Virus, or John Malkovich, took over.
Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus the damn virus.
Right? You had Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, Steve Buscemi, who was just an absolute psycho.
Yeah.
He had 5 lines that entire movie, and he was the weirdest character in
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, we're supposed to give up 3 guards when we land. This guy's Bowrowitch.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And then he's like, and the other dude, I think we flew out of the plane.
Yeah. Right.
Solid, though.
It is. And every time I hear Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama, I can only think of this movie. It's because Steve Buscemi is like, definition of irony. Bunch of people getting drunk on a plane listening to a band or a song made famous by a band for dying in a plane crash. If you haven't watched it, it's one of Nick Cage's best movies ever. It's from 1997. He doesn't get wrongfully convicted, but he does go to prison. But this entire time he's
he technically does. It's more of a... it should have been a self-defense deal, but they like...
threw the book at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Mainly because he's an Army Ranger, and he used... The judge says you... Being in that profession and having that kind of training, you should have showed more restraint.
Yeah.
When he kills a guy for being a drunk and trying to rape his girlfriend.
Yeah, how dare that happen?
Right. Yeah. But, he's on a transport plane
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop. No, you're going to get murdered.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
You're going to get seriously killed.
I don't even think it's really possible. I think they made it up for movies, but he does do that thing where he takes the palm of his hand, shoves it into the guy's nose, and then which goes into the brain, like, instantly killing him. I'm not a martial artist by any means, so I don't even think that's true, and please don't prove me wrong. You can only do it once.
Yeah.
Or can you?
It's like those Instagram reels where they're like showing the guy how to like, disarm a person, like take a gun away from him. And so like the guy's like watching the videos, okay. And then he goes, you just see a gun come in the situation. He's like, ha ha. And he tries to move and then he's in heaven. He's like, man, damn it.
There's an old meme or comic that goes around Facebook like at least once a year, and it's like how to defend yourself against a bear. And it's like square up like jujitsu, duck under the first punch, get right behind him, and like grab him and sleeper chunk. Yeah. And then at the end, it's like, and then you wake up and realize you died around step 2.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
But Con Air is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. Apparently, it's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. Watch it.
Well, I'm gonna step away from the action portion of this. So, one of my favorite movies from Mr. Cusack is Serendipity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, love story about star-crossed lovers that met one day in New York shopping mall, trying to buy a pair of gloves for the person that they were actually dating at the time. Well, they weren't dating the same person, but for people that they were actually dating. And they end up having like this wonderful day of going through and questioning whether or not they should be in those relationships, and if what they're feeling in that moment was actually love at first sight or meant to be or what. So in order for them to test that theory, she writes her name and her I think phone number down in a copy of a book. I can't remember what the book is, and then he's supposed to write his number down on was like a 5 or a 10.
I remember.
It was either a $5 or a $10 bill. It was probably a 5 because she goes and buys the book with it.
Okay.
And then takes the book and then sells it to another place and says, if we ever get these back again, you can't. She goes, you have to walk away right now. If we ever get these back again, we'll know it was real. And then, like, I think it fast forwards like 3 or 4 years or something like that. I can't remember the time frame, but she ends up getting the money back, handed to her from a friend, and his soon-to-be wife, as a wedding present, gifts him the book that she signed with her number in it. So it's like, what the hell? Like, why did I have to get to here,
If she went off and just sold the book, and you're like, all right, let's like walk away right now, and wait for her to turn around the corner and just go back into the goddamn bookshop and buy that book. You're like, I found it.
So here's the thing is like she said, that's what happened is she kept the book. Oh. She sold it the next day so that he wouldn't know where the book was.
Okay, that's much smarter.
But
competently written.
But so his fiance said that she got him a copy of the book because every time he would go into a secondhand bookstore, he would pick up that book to see if her name was in it. And he
real nice. Oh, I
so
love this woman. I'm engaged to her, but hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find this rando chick's number.
Well, he just goes through and like checks it in every bookstore, even if he's with her, and she's like, "Well, I see you look at this book every time, but I never saw a copy, so I bought it for you." And she ends up buying that freaking book,
the
exact one. Like
this is clearly before online dating.
Oh yes,
This was the nice way of if you're not sure if you're into that person, you know what. Here's a book. Here's some money. If it comes back to us, it was meant to be.
Now
you just get ghosted online.
Yeah. What's the guy from with the big eyebrows that was from American Pie? The dad.
Oh, Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy. Yeah. So he's the guy who like writes up the credit card receipt, and that's how they try to track him down. So they end up going to like the warehouse where they got all the copied receipts, because back then they did the credit card machine where it would slide it and it would make an imprint of the copy. Like you keep one, they keep the other one, whatever. And so that's one way how they were trying to track her down. And so finally at the end of the movie, when they do get together, he's like, "Oh, Miss Carbon Copy." And he's real a stickler. He's like, "Oh no, you can't be on the side of the counter, man. No, you got to stay on that side.
Get on your side.
Get on your side of the counter."
Well, it's funny because now, just for everybody who knows who doesn't know John Cusack that well, who is the brother of Joan Cusack, they have been in a lot of movies together. But his big startup was in the '80s. Like he started out then, because none of the movies we mentioned were really any of the '80s movies, but that was his thing. 16 Candles was one of his earlier ones, but he really didn't have a big part
until
of
we
it.
turned on the mic. I could have sworn he was part of the Brat Pack, but he wasn't in the outside of 16 Candles. He really wasn't in those kind of movies.
I'm almost positive that was like one of the few John Hughes films he was in, or one only. But he also did some people's favorites, Better Off Dead.
Yep.
I remember that movie.
The famous line with the kid, "Give my $2. My $2." His brother's building that giant rocket in the room.
Right, yeah.
And the mother was always making that disgusting food that looked like the stuff from a Nickelodeon show.
The Gak or whatever.
No, it's the stuff like, what was that? You can't do that on television. The Nickelodeon TV
I don't remember
show.
that one.
Oh yeah, it was a Canadian show, but it was on Nickelodeon. But
to be fair, I've watched the documentary series about those early Nickelodeon shows on HBO.
They're bad.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for supporting that channel for a long time.
But back then you didn't know, and
If you want to ruin your childhood, look up that docuseries on HBO Max.
It was a sketch show for kids, but there was always a scene where the cook, because it was always in a school, so they had a bus driver that almost killed them every day driving, and
Otto.
Yeah, then they had
Or
like
Mrs.
a cook.
Crabapple from South
No, this
Park.
guy was worse.
Oh shit.
And but so they always had like the lunchroom scenes, and there was always some disgusting food. But that's what the mother was making in that movie.
It wasn't the sloppy Joes.
No, it wasn't.
Made them extra sloppy for you.
But then you also had the other famous one, because John Cusack in his '80s movies gets known for certain things. So even though he didn't say it, but that whole scene with "Give Me My $2" was in Better Off Dead. Say Anything. That's the famous scene that everybody knows, where he's holding the boombox over his head, in your eyes, playing. Got the trench coat on, John Cusack style. He did One Crazy Summer. That one was pretty funny.
I don't think I remember that one.
Oh, that had the guy that was I can never remember his actual name, but the guy that played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's in that one. So there's a lot of good ones that he did in the '80s, but he was always like the kid, the lead kid in most of those '80s movies. But then I want to tell you that so I can tell you this, because going back to the favorites, I was actually shocked you didn't say Identity.
So that was the next movie. That was the one I was tied about.
Okay.
So I really wanted. That was the next movie I was going to bring up. But I'm reading about the description of some movie called One Crazy Summer.
Yeah.
Never heard of this, and it looks freaky. It looks like
It's just a comedy.
Oh.
It's not like
Then why is the sun a giant grinning clown face?
because it needs to be.
That-
Because it's fun.
Does not.
As it needs to be.
It absolutely does not. The only movie that should have that. There are two movies that should have that logo on their movie posters: Killer Clowns from Outer Space and The Terrifier.
Okay.
And I've never seen The Terrifier. I'm throwing that out there. I just know of it.
I don't think I've seen it.
They're making a third one.
That's
Oh, well, that's fun.
yeah.
The Terrifier 2 apparently was, a lot of people were leaving the theater or getting sick. One guy had like heart palpitations from it. So.
Oh.
So Gavin, do a quick Google search of The Terrifier and look at the clown in that movie.
I'm not sure if I want ads for that.
You don't.
What about it? You didn't include it in there?
In what? Oh, I've
Have that logo.
no, because it is technically a giant demon spider from hell.
But it goes as
I've
a
seen
clown
that
through most of the
Yeah,
movie.
that's true.
But he goes through a clown. So I will go through, let's see here. Because there's a lot of movies. So again, just like in all the other episodes, if we miss something that you really
sure
like,
we
we
will.
apologize, and we will. But I wanted to get to one real quick to kind of talk about it. And I'm pulling it up, and it is High Fidelity.
Heard of it.
Okay, so High Fidelity is basically he owns or runs a music store, like a record store. He's got Jack Black's in it, and the other guy, he's been in other movies with John Cusack. I can't remember his name though, but it's just basically his two buddies are like slackers, but they all love music, and it's kind of written where he, if I remember correctly, I think he breaks the fourth wall because he's like talking to the camera in a lot of the scenes where he's basically going back through all his past messed up relationships or how they went bad, and then he explains the stories of them, and then he kind of also relates it to like music and stuff. But that is actually a really good movie. That is definitely like a rom-com type film. But the best part is when Jack Black walks in. He comes in. It's kind of like it's like kind of like Empire Records, but without as many people, not as quirky.
Yeah.
It's earlier than that.
Okay.
But it's like it was before Empire Records. But Jack Black comes in and he's John Cusack's wearing this sweater, and he's like, "What are you wearing?" He's like, What's that sweater? That is a Cosby sweater." He gets like mad enough for wearing a Cosby sweater.
To be fair, that was predicting the future. You should have been upset about wearing a Cosby sweater.
Touche.
That is a Cosby sweater.
I think the writer of that movie knew what Cosby was doing and was trying to subtly inform the police.
What does that sweater come with? Some Jello pudding and a jar of sleeping pills?
Rohypnol, GHB.
Yeah.
Now, one of the ones I was gonna say is a close second of favorites, but it was hard for me to pinpoint it to him because it is an ensemble cast in this movie, but we've talked about it recently, and that's Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
So I just found that on the list.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm genuinely surprised you didn't call that one because of how much we talked about it last week.
Yeah, so it's definitely up there. It's like
Right.
like Grosse Pointe Blank, Identity, obviously all the 80s movies, even though they were more quirky and goofy, but I respect it because that's kind of where he started out at. But no, definitely Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is up there. But yeah, I would say I like Midnight better. It's a little bit more up there than Identity for me, just because it's such an interestingly unique.
Well, I've never
movie.
seen it, but Kevin Spacey before he was awful.
Jude Law.
Jude Law, Allison Eastwood, John Cusack.
You know who directed the movie? I'll give you a hint. That girl that you named, it's her dad. He's a famous director and actor.
Clint Eastwood.
Yep. It's her dad.
And there's also somebody. The actual person's name is the Lady Chalbless.
Chablis.
Chablis.
The Lady Chablis.
And her character name is Chablis Devereaux.
Yep. So she's an actual drag queen.
Oh.
It's actual famous, like in real life. And then they got her to do this under her actual name.
Oh, that's cool.
Or the stage name she goes by.
Like
she
RuPaul.
hides her tea. Her truth.
Her tea.
She wants to show people her tea.
Oh, I bet.
That's her truth.
The T turns out to be the D, in which this G does not want to see the D.
There you go.
You got a Hummer from the training, didn't you? No.
No.
Her Adam's apple was as big as her balls.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she could palm a basketball. So you don't know.
So yeah. So you don't know.
You got no proof.
You got a Hummer from the training, didn't you? Maybe.
Maybe. Well,
40 overage.
one other one we did talk about more recently, and I know it wasn't going to be in your top favorites because you said how weird of a movie it was.
Being John Malkovich. I was going to bring that one up too. We talked
John
a lot
Malkovich.
about his movies are really good. So in a lot of these discussions that we have, at some point we're talking about a John Cusack movie. Probably.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of like the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, well, you could now
Exactly.
play with John Cusack.
Have you guys ever seen Pushing Tin?
No, when I saw
No.
that, I immediately started thinking of the movie Tin Cup.
No. It's so they're air traffic controllers, and it's
with Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton,
And
yeah.
it's kind of a rivalry where they're both about who can have the most strenuous heart attack on the planet first.
Yeah, basically.
Because I think by today's standards, that is still the most stressful job you could ever have.
Oh, it's up there.
Air
Yeah,
traffic
it's
control.
definitely
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, but I
You-
mean-
you could only do it for so many years.
Yeah. I think by union rules or something like that because you get burned out. But I do know starting pay for that is at like 6 figures just because of how.
Yeah.
But it's a year's worth of schooling to do it and starts at 6 figures. You work for more than 5, less than 10 years just because otherwise you would be a vegetable by the time you're done. And so you make out like a
Well,
bandit.
that's why Summer Vacation happened.
Summer rental.
Summer rental, yeah. Because John Candy was the air traffic controller.
Yep.
And he was like, I've lost plane 845. Where 845? Come in 845. And he's like, he goes, oh. And it's like a smudge on the screen from his like jelly from his lunch or something like that.
His boss wipes it off, and he's like,
his boss goes, it's right here, and it takes it off, and he's just this giant sigh.
See, now I'm thinking of Spaceballs that they jam the radar.
The jam.
Raspberry.
Lone Star.
There's only one person who would use raspberry jam.
I almost feel like last week's or the weeks before episode was a John Cusack episode because most of these movies I'm revisiting now.
Yeah.
Like Runaway Jury. We talked
Runaway
about
Jury.
that.
That was on the trial movie, being John Malkovich.
Oh yeah, because it was trials.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of trial movies.
And he does a lot of
2 weeks
independent
ago.
films.
Last week we did Independence.
Okay, so that was just a lead into John
Yeah.
Cusack.
Yeah.
We'll spin it that way.
was
We've been planning this. If you've been
Yeah.
following along, you knew we were building up to this. All right, before you move on, let's talk about
go
the
ahead.
identity real quick.
Okay, talk about it.
So this was the movie I was talking about, which was tied for first, but I went towards Con Air. If you haven't seen it, it's about 5 people that meet up at a motel, quote unquote, randomly, because the road is out, flooded and damaged. There's a girl trying to move to Florida to start a new life and get away from all the BS of where they are.
Florida's closed.
Yeah.
In an
You know
orange
what?
grove.
We're in the middle of summer. Come down here now, give it a little test drive and see how you like
No. Don't do that. Come down here anywhere between September and November. See if your ass stays then.
it.
Hurricane season. Get your badge.
We're already in hurricane season.
Yeah, but usually our terrible time is.
Oh yeah,
that
September
time.
to October. And then there's John Cusack, I believe, plays a PI or some sort of detective. I can't remember
Is
exactly.
he like a US
He's
Marshal?
he's a driver.
Oh, that's right. He's
He's a limo
okay.
driver.
He's a limo driver.
He's a limo driver. He's driving that actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actress, and then a family, wife and husband and son, and then a prisoner transport wind up at this motel because the road is blocked and they can't. So they're like, all right, we're gonna bunker down here for the evening, and then surprisingly, with the dangerous Jake Busey in handcuffs, looking all sinister, people start dying, and then like they try to figure out who it is.
I think that's genetics from his father. By
Yeah.
the way. But anyway.
But they're like, oh, it's got to be Jake Busey's, cannibalist ass who's killing people. And then they go find where they locked him up in the storage room, and he's got a chair leg shoved down his throat. And throughout this murder mystery, you're trying to find out who the killer is. It keeps flashing back to like a conversation in a room. I think it's Vincent D'Onofrio, and 3 other people, and they're just having a conversation like, where are you? What are you doing? Tell us about what's going on. And you're a little bit confused because we're doing this quick cuts every now and again. And then towards the end of the movie, John Cusack winds up in that room. And he's this guy, like, we're on the hunt for a murderer. Someone's going around killing everyone at the motel. And everyone around was like, that's not good. And then he goes back to the motel. And then they finally escape. It was the girl who was trying to move to Florida and the little kid. They escape. I don't remember what she does with the little kid, but the girl fast forwards to the girl in Florida planting spoilers, planting vegetables in a garden.
She planted spoilers?
Yeah. You
I
can
don't
only
think
get
they
this.
actually show the kid ever escaping. I think he's just disappears.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
because
think
he
they
was supposed to be in the
explain it,
back
yeah.
of the car when it
Yeah.
explodes, but he's not. But either way, the girl goes to Florida, and then that scene with Vincent D'Onofrio and the 2 people have moved from a little office to a car, and then Vincent D'Onofrio is just being.
I'm sorry, before you keep saying, I don't believe that was Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh really?
Just to be,
Okay.
just in case.
Well, let's look that up. 'Cause
We'll look it up.
But I thought it was Vincent D'Onofrio.
Maybe.
Yeah, but either way, so they're driving in a car, and then when the girl planting her vegetables in Florida, it's in the little kid from the motel shows up behind her. He's like, "It's not nice to be a whore," and kills her. And then you realize all the people at the motel were different personalities of the guy in the room, and now that's in the car, whose sole identity is the murderous little child who thinks everyone's a whore. So the last scene is him losing his shit in the back of this cop car and killing people.
All right.
So it was the guy's name is Pruitt Taylor Vance,
Okay.
and also Alfred Molina was the doctor.
Oh, okay.
Just to give other people some.
Yeah.
And then so also to name the names, so you had obviously Jake Busey, you had John Cusack, Amanda Peet was the girl.
That's right.
You had Ray Liotta was was the cop, kind of the cop transporting.
John C. McGinley was one of the prisoner, like the U.S. Marshals, I believe.
Was he? No.
Yeah, he was in. I thought he was one of the prisoners.
No, that's the father. That's the guy. He played the father when.
That's right. He was wearing the glasses. He had the comb over. He was wearing that beige jacket that every dad wore in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the father of the kid.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm remembering.
It's the father of the kid. It's the father of the kid. It's the father of the bride.
John Cusack wasn't in that.
Stuart Tyler. I'm trying to. This guy looks super familiar. I'm trying to figure out where I know him from. He was on a couple of episodes of The Mentalist. Now I remember.
Not The Mentalist.
Yeah, he played the boss's boss. It's weird. He was on there for like a season and a half.
So there was.
And to be fair, it's not like I mistook him for someone that looks wildly different. If you look at a photo of him. You could see where I could say in my memory that was Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay. But I just wanted for reference for people to make sure that because then everyone's going to be like, hey, I want to go see Vincent D'Onofrio in the movie. Then they're going to hate us.
That he's not in.
Then they're going to hate us. Don't listen to anything they say.
Yeah, but Identity is a really good movie. I mean, I did spoil the ending for a murder mystery, so sorry. But if you skip from minute 28 to 31:15, you'll be solid.
Went to the Orange Grove, found a man that wasn't there again today. Pray he goes away.
Well, Tony, that's a thing he said.
All right.
Let's just keep going.
That was his rhyme that he kept saying.
Oh,
that was in the very beginning on the tapes, and he's like, why do you keep saying that, or like, who is the man that wasn't there? So, but let's move on to 1408.
Okay, that is one of the few horror movies I've seen, and that movie freaked me out. But it is very good, I will say.
Very Stephen King-ish, a lot
definitely.
It does have that kind of feel. Yeah,
it's one of the few horror movies you see Sam Jackson in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he did a very good job. Like, that entire movie was great. Yeah. I even watched it.
He didn't go through the movie and say, "Drink my beer, it'll get you drunk."
Motherfucking shark ate me.
So let me ask you this: do you understand the ending of it?
Doubtful.
I was actually confused.
I watched it one time and I was like,
because remember, he keeps cutting
that was
like
a massive mind fuck.
Yeah, so he kept going like surfing and stuff. You remember he kept going back to that.
Yeah, but it was also he's back with his ex-wife and they're packing up a house trying to start over. Mm-hmm. But then you hear the little girl's voice, the ghost in the hotel room. I don't think he left the hotel room. I think he's still trapped there.
It's up to you to find out.
So, I think I've ranted and raved about this movie, American Psychopath.
We now cut to a podcast where three idiots try to tell you what you think about a movie, even though you know what you've already thought.
They will gaslight the shit out of you. Yeah. But it's that American Psycho garbage where the ending is up for interpretation by the ending.
Yeah,
I hated it in American Psycho. I didn't mind it in 1408.
I mean, to be honest, American Psycho it didn't get up into interpretation. Like, he basically just got away with all the shit.
Yeah, but then he tried to tell his accountant friend, like, hey, it's me, Patrick Bateman. And he's like, your name is Gary. What the hell are you talking about?
Exactly.
So who the hell is he? Is it Gary or Patrick Bateman? And if he's not Patrick Bateman, where was Patrick Bateman this entire time? Why was he in his office? Why did his assistant call him Patrick? There's so many fucking things wrong.
All right,
don't get me started on this.
So 1408, what I like about that.
So let's cue the circus music for Patrick, and we'll move to 1408. Circus, Afro circus.
So I did like how they did it though. It was the difference being from The Shining is The Shining, had stuff going on all throughout the hotel. He really couldn't get out of that room once he was in it. And that was imagine that. Imagine being stuck in a hotel room.
Dude, no.
And if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I've seen that movie, and I've seen it a couple times, but isn't that there one scene where he looks out the window and he can see himself?
Yeah, staring back at him.
Yeah, staring back, yeah.
But it's like, they set it up like it was going to be one of those fun 80s things where it's like two people waving, trying to figure out if it's a mirror or if it's someone else. But John Cusack not John Cusack, just stares at him menacingly.
The John Cusack.
Yeah, the John Cusack. The Onion Cusack.
Onion Cusack.
The Onion Cusack.
Now, but it was interesting. Again, like the ending, because it's been so long. That's why I was asking if you can remember what the ending made sense to you or what you made of it. But
So I think there are two interpretations of the ending. One is my way, where he's still in the hotel, and that's proof that like he's never getting out of this goddamn purgatory, or it's proof that everything he wrote down, it was real, and he met his dead daughter, and now he's showing his wife. I think there are two interpretations. There might be a third. I am not the smartest
send
man.
us an email. Talk to us at movietalksandchill.com.
Yeah, let us know what you thought the ending was.
Because we don't have a phone to go to right now.
Yeah.
We didn't put
We're going to go live for
the.
the...
We're going live on the pre.
We're going live
Yeah.
to the extra dry bottle of gin. No, that doesn't seem
To the
right.
extra dry bottle of gin.
Oh, we got a caller. Yes, hello. Movie Talks and Chill here. You guys suck.
Well, we welcome all opinions.
Yeah, this is Vincent D'Onofrio. I wasn't in Identity. Just so you guys-
But I
I want
appreciate
you to
it.
punch that Patrick guy square in the face.
I'd rather have one of you two do it than Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he's going to waste his time coming all the way here just to punch you in the face.
Hey man, Hallmark and Lifetime are now filming their Christmas movies. He could be in one.
I told you had to bring it up.
Yep.
I told you were going to bring something up.
I
about
wasn't
Hallmark.
even thinking about that until you brought it up earlier. This is your fault.
No, it's not.
Yep.
It's not my fault.
He had to put it in the universe.
So let's move on to another movie that I don't know if I was the biggest fan of. It's entertaining for like just a sit down watch it type movie, but 2012.
Igor. Oh,
2012.
Yeah.
I watched it just to say I did, but it was not a very I like disaster movies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That one was it felt hastily put together. You remember you said there's a company or a film production company, when they hear about a big blockbuster, they spend the next 2 weeks trying to make a copy
The
of
Asylum.
it. Yeah. And that's what this feels like. Someone announced like a 2012 The World Is Ending movie, and they're like, "Fuck!" And they did it real quick, and then Paramount decided, "Yeah, we're actually not going to put this movie out."
I think they did. I think that company did make one around this one. I think they named it 12/12/2012,
12,
just so it couldn't be directly connected.
It's like the difference between
Well,
Deep Impact
it
and
was
Armageddon.
it was technically supposed to be on, I think it was December 21st, 2012, because that was the summer solstice, and that was when the Mayan calendar
ended. Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much that we don't really know about the Mayans. Like, maybe that's just where it ends and then it restarts.
Or maybe
like,
they
that's
just
their
ran
new-
out of room. Like, we could keep going, but this thing's already the size of a 2-story house.
Or maybe they just want to mess with people and say, you know what, these idiots are
Yeah.
going to believe this stuff's
You
over.
know, 2,000 years from now, they're going to be reading this and we're going to be like, ha!
The Mayans are smoking their version of a bong. Like, dude, I've got an idea.
Hear me out.
Let's fuck with the future.
Let's make a calendar that stops.
Abruptly.
On their 21st.
But yeah.
Merry Christmas, assholes.
Well, that's the beginning of the winter solstice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like they were still doing it off of the stars at that point. But it only got touched on like once in the movie. It was and it was through Woody Allen's character.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, yeah.
And when he goes to visit him at at Yellowstone, he's like, "Do you see any animals up here? We're on top of a super volcano." And I just love how tweaked out he is the whole time.
Kind of reminds you of like Dennis Hopper's character in Apocalypse Now.
Yes,
It's
yes,
like that kind of creepy, weird.
yeah. And so like he's driving when he goes up there to see him, trying to get his map for where they're building the arcs or whatever. His daughter's with him. He's like, "Daddy, is he crazy?" He's like, "I don't think so, sweetie." It's like, yes, but he's right on this one.
That's the kind of crazy we need right now.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and he played a limo driver in that movie, too.
Yeah.
He did.
He's been typecasted.
Hey, we need a limo driver who likes to wear black.
All right, so I have one, and I'm pretty sure that you two haven't seen it, and I don't think a lot of people out there have seen it either, because
Igor.
No, not animated. It's a movie he did with Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Yes. Now we have your attention. Huh?
Yeah.
So this movie is called Dragon Blade, and the stars are Jackie Chan, John Cusack, and Adrian Brody.
What a combo.
This,
Right?
this movie sounds awesome. What's it called again?
Dragon Blade. So it essentially
Switching
takes
to
place.
IMDb real quick.
It essentially takes place during the Roman Empire, and John Cusack plays a Roman general who sneaks out the son of the current ruler, the current emperor, because Adrian Brody's character is trying to do a coup. He's his uncle. So he ends up killing.
I thought you were about to say meet cute. Like he's really in love with somebody. He's going to set it up for John Cusack. Like he's just a fan of love.
So he ends up murdering the royal family in order for him to take place because his nephew is still a child. Mm-hmm. And so he also tried to poison his nephew, which John Cusack and his men got to him first. They got him to doctors. Now he's blind from the poison, but they're going across. They basically left the Roman Empire to go find some place where they could, stay for him to get, they could raise him to get older and, teach him some stuff.
All right, let's not spoil it too much. I'm looking at this, and I'm going to watch the shit out of this movie. There's a silent trailer playing at the top of my IMDb, and this looks awesome.
So, Jackie Chan, he is I want to say it's the city of China. Put your ears down.
Put your hands down, man.
So he ends up getting, I can't remember the dynamic on it. He essentially gets banished to this city that's on what they call the Silk Road, which is a major trading port between like the nations of the East and the West.
Okay.
And so he ends up going there and gets, it's kind of like essentially a prison sentence, but he gets banished there. So him and his men that they have there, they end up building up this city. Well, John Cusack and his guys come across. They've trekked across this desert. They're tired. They have no water. So they end up, allowing them to stay, and then chaos ensues when Adrian Brody and the rest of his legions find out where what happened. They've tracked him down. Mm-hmm. So I won't spoil anything else for Patrick.
This movie looks like it kicks ass.
It's really awesome.
Also, the Roman leader's name is Tiberius.
Yes.
So if anyone's a fan of Star Trek, there's your tie-in. You now have an excuse to watch it.
So John Cusack is Lucius. Tiberius is Adrian Brody. Mm-hmm. And
then there's a large amount of Chinese names.
Yes. So there's like 5 other nations. It's like a Mongolian, like all of them like converge on living off of the Silk Road, and it's a really really cool big fight scene at the end.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Mongolian is where they invented Mongolian beef.
Yes, it is.
Fun little fact about the Mongolians.
Also Attila the Hun.
Fun fact about Attila the Hun. He sired so many children from, well, let's just call criminal acts, that there's a 5% chance that everybody in the world has a 5% chance of being a descendant of his.
Nice. Good for him.
Well, let's not champion that, but it's a fact.
Let's not champion.
Let's not champion that.
I'm not taking it on as a task. It's like,
I'm not gonna do 23andMe when I get home, Patrick.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna just we've touched. Last week we talked about being John Malkovich, and the week before that we talked about Runaway Jury. So I don't want to spend too much time on those movies, but they are both really good. If you haven't seen them, go watch them. Being John Malkovich will blow your mind, and Runaway Jury is just a very nice thriller.
Yes.
And
also,
it's goddamn delightful.
Yeah. And we did talk about it too, so we won't delve too much in this one. But Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, that was the next movie I really wanted to talk about. I just love the ending where Rod Corddry is like, I'm not going back, and then you see him on his mega yacht, and he's like, I'm rich, just because he invested in Disney and Amazon and all that fun stuff.
Well, no, he changed the name.
Oh, yeah.
He created Lugal.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I just wish I just miss hanging out with the band. It's like, band, it's just something I did, for a little while. Motley Lou. Yeah, Motley Crue. And then he superimposed his face across all the music videos.
So I will say I've never seen the sequel. I've never seen Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
He's not really in it. The only thing
I heard it wasn't that good.
It was okay.
Yeah, it's what you would expect from a sequel of a movie called Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going in. It's not going to be a triumph of cinema.
Yeah, the first one was oddly good and became successful. I'm like, oh, just like Hollywood. Hey, we made money here. Let's make more.
Yep. It's got a couple of funny premises to it, but ultimately, really, it's like, and I think they said John Cusack's only credited in like an extended cut version. He's not actually.
Oh, did they get rid of like his one scene he was in?
Yeah.
So it's literally one scene.
They basically see like it's like a picture is all you see of him in the actual regular movie.
Yeah.
Because he's what's his name's uncle, the guy that basically takes his place in this movie.
Well, I've never seen
it. What's his name from Parks and Rec? The boyfriend of
Adam Scott.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So
he's a good actor. I like him.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, watch it if you just want a goofy, no-brainer type day.
Yeah. I mean, I love those kind of.
Again, it's not great, but it's not the worst thing you've ever seen. So at least I don't think so.
I've seen a few horrible things since we've started this podcast. Seen some truly awful movies.
But I do want to ask real quick. So I mean, there are some other films he's done. Some not as well known as others, but
like he was in Stand By Me.
Yep.
I didn't remember that.
Yep, he was the brother. He was the brother of the kid who was the main character who, as he grew up, was the one narrating the movie, which Richard Dreyfuss played his older version, but he would do flashbacks.
Yeah.
As he was his older brother, so it was a couple scenes. Like I said, he was starting to get big at that time around the 80s, and he's like, you know what, I don't think you can afford me, so I'll just be a couple flashbacks.
This would be $2 million.
And that movie had enough names in it.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, at the time, they weren't really big names, except for Kiefer Sutherland. He was like the only one that was really, really well known.
And that was probably only because of his dad at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, no, he had done The Lost Boys by that point.
He had done a couple things.
He was doing. He was filming Young Guns, I think, around that time.
Yep.
Well, he clearly didn't do what he's most known for. Phone Booth.
I was going to say 24.
Oh, I love 24. But his cameo at the end of Phone Booth actually kind of threw me through a loop for some reason. If you haven't seen it, he's the bad guy who holds, what the hell is
Adrian Brody?
No. Colin Farrell hostage in the last phone booth in Manhattan.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio wouldn't fit into an old school phone booth.
We'll do a Vincent D'Onofrio episode at one point.
We're just basically talking about Daredevil from Netflix.
Yeah. Right.
And Echo from Disney Plus.
But since we do have a little bit of time left, I think we got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so let's do this. I always like to throw this one out there. Is there a movie, a style of movie, or a character or a style of character you would like to see John Cusack play that you have not yet seen him play?
I want to see him delve more into the action. Just more, like, if Grosse Pointe Blank was made by Michael Bay, that's kind of what I want to see. More action-packed from John Cusack, because he does some action.
Watch Dragon Blade.
I plan on it.
And then tell me.
But that may be the only, like, real, like, action movie.
And for me, I think I would like to see him. I think he would be like a good... I wouldn't mind him seeing him playing Han Solo. I think he could pull off that arrogant, like...
I'm trying to
but more sophisticated, like sarcastic. Whereas Harrison
like
Ford
Poe Dameron, but he's a smuggler.
Yeah, well, like Harrison Ford's portrayal of it was more like he was the bad boy, and he was like so what? Where he would be more like he would insult you, but you'd be okay with it.
Like Harrison Ford mixed with Joe Pesci.
He'd be like he is in Grosse Pointe Blank, where he just throws out one-liners so subtly, like you don't even know. You don't even know he's doing a dig on you.
Wait, did you just insult me?
Yeah. Right?
So the two movies we're coming up with were both referencing Grosse Pointe Blank. This may be his magnum opus movie.
It's magnum opus.
So it's like Grosse Pointe Blank meets.
meets.
Michael Bay. That's
I like it.
Or even J.J. Abrams.
Nah, we don't need any more lens flares.
Oh, I need my lens flares. I go home and watch an episode of Fringe.
Half blind now.
See, I dove back to this style. I've done it multiple times when we've gotten to this point. And we talk about like what we would like to see somebody play. Mm-hmm. I want to see him play a serial killer.
Oh,
instead of the serial
killer victim, like an Identity, you want him to be the little kid.
No, I want not a little kid, but I want to see him. I think he could portray a really interesting version of a serial killer.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, once again, from Grosse Pointe Blank, he was one moral fiber away from becoming one. He just liked getting money.
Like, I could almost see the movie
Yeah.
where...
Imagine if he just liked being homeless and just killing people.
Yeah. But I see it more like very calculated, but very hidden, kind of like a Dexter style. But if I could picture a type of movie, he's a small shop owner of some sort, and it's like a small town. A woman moves there, or a new family moves there, and slowly things happen. Or maybe not a small town, but decent sized place, because you don't want killings to be that obvious right away. But I could kind of picture him being the guy that they go to for help, like the family goes to him for help with all the stuff that's going on.
Right.
And he's helping them, but then the twist is the whole time he's been the guy causing it.
Actually, better idea. This family moves to the safest town in America because no murders happen there, but all the towns around them are rampant with people dying. And the twist at the end of the movie, it's because John Cusack was a serial killer and didn't like the shit where he slept.
I like it. I didn't like the shit where he slept.
He's the sheriff of the small town.
Yes.
The actual sheriff of the small town. And we don't.
He's not even a serial killer. It's just like our town was not on the map, but now it's the safest town in America because everyone else around us is dying.
Moving here.
Yeah.
Well, I could see it either that or where he's like a movie where it's just like he's been institutionalized. He's been caught. He's been a serial killer. But the whole movie is nothing but a long session with his doctor, like just delving into why he does what he does. I could picture him.
That's the boring part of Identity.
That's a great one. No, but it's going to have all flashbacks of it delves into him as a kid or whatever it may be, blah, blah, different things.
It corresponds to childhood trauma.
But just the way he talks, like you said, him sitting there being so calculated and calm.
Yeah.
Talking back with the doctor.
You originally said it, though, like a guy from Dexter. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Michael C. Hall on Dexter. I think he did a great job. But if you swapped him out for John Cusack, I'd still be great. Like, I wouldn't hate that show. I think he would be able to do just as good as Michael C. Hall did in that show.
Yep. So, yeah, I want to see John Cusack.
Which is back on Netflix, by the way, so I'm getting ready for a rewatch.
Yep.
If you hear us, be a serial killer. Take a movie with a serial killer, or any writer directors out there got a great serial killer type movie.
Or write it yourself.
To be fair, all the copyrighted movies we have from this podcast, there are a couple of serial killer movies out there. Just give us money. We'll make it. We'll cast John Cusack.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. We'll say yes. We're not...
We'll say yes.
We're easy.
Send your
Let's
money
throw that
to
out there.
555.
Yeah. Callers are waiting. We don't have callers? Damn it.
We should do what they accidentally did in Bruce Almighty. Put just a random but actual phone number out there, and some guy has to change it because everybody just keeps calling
They did the same thing to Squid Game.
Oh, was that an active phone number?
Yes.
Oh.
It's an active phone number.
Squid Game.
Well, I remember, in the original Bruce Almighty, when, he's like, God, show me a sign, and that signage full of trucks pulls out in front of him, like, stop, turn around, don't go this way. There's an actual 727, not 55 number, and apparently that was a real Clearwater phone number.
Yeah.
Well,
and the DVD release, it said 555.
So for the Fallout series, there's a phone number in there for you to call to ask for Vault Tech.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, but what they did was the show's creators actually bought the number, and they have a message that plays whenever you call the number. So it's not just like somebody's random number. Like, they bought that actual phone number so they could put it in the show, and that's now their. If you need information on Vault Tech and reserving your spot, call blah blah blah, whatever the phone number is, and you can call it from your phone now, and it'll play a message.
So the original God of War video game that came out in the early 2000s, when you beat the game, you become the new God of War in Greek mythology. So you get a throne room with 2 statues on either side. Two statues. If you take the 15 minutes it takes of just beating them, they will crumble, and you get a puzzle of 7 digits. If you put it correctly, it's a phone number you can call, and it's Kratos, the character from the game, saying, "Congratulations, God of War, you have done your people proud," or something like that. It's still active. I called it last month just to see if they still get it. You can just Google it. I solved the puzzle originally.
We're not nerds.
No. Hey, look at that. We're almost out of time.
Oh.
But I will say this one the original for the PS2 was not voiced by Christopher Judge. It's by someone that they found Christopher Judge to voice act because he sounds so much like him. And back then, Christopher Judge was on Stargate SG-1. He didn't have time to do a video game.
Nah, it's no time.
Stargate what?
Hey, shut up. Shut your whore mouth.
You're a whore, Peter.
Taste of Betrayal.
It's
Here's the Taste of Betrayal.
Betrayal.
I thought it was a name muffin.
It was not. It was not the Taste of Betrayal.
It was the Taste of Betrayal.
You fucking whore.
Yeah, the only other thing I was trying to think of is, and we won't be able to get into it because we're almost out of time, but just thinking like, and save it for next time or put your minds to it. If you could picture John Cusack as a character in the MCU or DCU, what would it be? Think about it. We're not going to answer now. We'll bring it up. We'll have our answers next week.
So John Cusack now or John Cusack from like the mid 90s to early 2000s?
No, right now.
Okay.
As is. You get
Because
your
once again, I'm thinking about Grosse Pointe Blank and that John Cusack.
Well, I mean, he's basically the same guy. I mean, he's just a little bit older. Hasn't changed much, as we said. But just think about it.
I already have my answer.
We'll circle back to
He
it.
may have lost a step or two, but he's still the same guy.
He's still a guy. He's still a guy.
I already have my answer.
Well, you can tell us next week.
Okay.
Because I don't have the answer yet.
Tune in next time.
So that'll
Where
be the
Patrick
little to
talks
be
about
continued. To be continued.
Who will John Cusack portray? Will Patrick have a good candidate? Next time on Movie Talks and Chill.
Spoilers, it's not Thanos.
It's not Thanos. I don't know.
Same chill time, same chill channel.
channel.
All right, but that is all the time we have for Movie Talks and Chill. Thank you guys for joining us, talking John Cusack. Again, if we did miss anything...
Once again, he has a filmography that's very large. And
yes.
I haven't seen all of his movies. I don't even think Tony has seen all of his movies.
No, not all of them. I didn't see that one that Gavin brought up. But
Yeah.
So if we did miss something that you know of, email us at talktous@movietalksandchill.com, and we will be glad to announce that Patrick will read the email, as he's been wanting to read the email.
Well, I've already read... We got one email and I read it. And it was basically like, this thing is being delayed. So we got that email, and now I'm not obligated to, but I still will read that email.
But now it's like a Lay's potato chip. Now, how do you stop?
It's like the first time when you try a salt and vinegar chip.
Okay.
Like, these are disgusting as you keep picking them up and
As you
eating
eat
them.
the whole bag.
Yeah.
A little dip.
Damn it, I think I like... Do I like these chips now? Damn it.
I think I do. But thank you guys out there for listening. Thank you, Vincent D'Onofrio. We do apologize.
To be fair, you
Just had to
look
throw
like
it out
that
there.
actor, too. You could have been an identity. What were you doing in 2001, when that movie came out?
But yeah, definitely check us out next week to find out our answers of what John Cusack would do in a superhero movie, DC or MCU. But until then, for Movie Talks Chill, we're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
Gavin Butts.
I'm Paul Rudd. Patrick Wall.
All right, guys, take care.